Good evening. My name is Stephen Taylor. I'm an attorney for the plaintiffs, the Vernons in this case. It is our position that through their mutual actions, the Vernons and the Crane Tragors established a contract for sale of Riot Foods, and that ultimately, once they changed their mind, the Crane Tragors reneged on this contract, breaching their end of the bargain. Section 204 of the UCC states that a contract for the sale of goods may be made in any manner sufficient to show agreement, including the conduct of the two parties which recognizes the existence of a contract. Now, in this case, the conduct of the Vernons clearly indicates that they were acting under the impression that they had a contract. For their part, the Vernons received a down payment of $15,000 from the Crane Tragors, with the understanding that they would be receiving the rest of the agreed upon $170,000 once the Crane Tragors gained a loan which they had applied for. In return, Mr. Vernon, Gene Vernon, trained in the new owners, Lindsay and Luann Tragor, and he taught them how to run the business, how to do it all self-sufficiently. While he was training them in the usage of the business, Mr. Vernon received $20 hourly payment just like any other employee would in this case. He wasn't treated differently or treated like an owner. He was treated like an employee who was training in some people who were the new owners. After these first two training events that Mr. Vernon attended with the Crane Tragors, he took his hands off of the business, and he and his wife ceased all operations and all business affairs with regards to Riot Foods. They allowed the Crane Tragors to run the business in its entirety because it was their understanding that the Crane Tragors were purchasing the business from them. The Vernons allowed the Crane Tragors to work the events that the Vernons themselves had scheduled, business that they themselves had generated through their own contacts, and they allowed the Crane Tragors to work these and to keep all of the revenues. The Vernons weren't receiving any of the revenues from the business at this time, and instead it was all going to who they thought were the new owners of Riot Foods, the Crane Tragors. Now, for their part in this deal as well, the Crane Tragors also acted like the owners of a business. The Crane Tragors took over operations of the business from the Vernons for the last 6 events of the season that Riot Foods was open for. The Crane Tragors, after the initial August 20th meeting with the Vernons, applied for a loan, a $155,000 loan, for which they were later approved to buy the business. They only decided after receiving the loan that the Crane Tragors had changed their mind and that this maybe wasn't for them. But while they were working at the business, which the Vernons had made and had brought to this point, had developed, they were keeping all of the profits for 3/4 of the summer, and even all of the summer, since Mr. Vernon was only paid hourly for the 2 events that he did work. If the Vernons didn't think that they had a contract for sale or that they had sold the business to the Crane Tragors, then their conduct in this matter doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense for 2 business owners who had owned this business for a while to allow another set of people to come in, work all of the events, and keep all of their profits, with them only receiving a $15,000 consideration to consider buying the business. That conduct wouldn't have made sense on behalf of the Vernons, and they were acting under the understanding that there was a contract. Furthermore, under UCC Section 2206, unless otherwise unambiguously indicated by the language or circumstances, an offer to make a contract shall be construed as inviting acceptance in any manner and by any medium reasonable in the circumstances. In this case, the Vernons reasonably believed that the actions of the Crane Tragors in taking over operations of the Riot Foods trucks and of keeping all of the profits, the Vernons were of the impression that the Crane Tragors had purchased the business from them and that they would be receiving their money as soon as the loan came through for the Crane Tragors. So it is our position today that a contract did in fact exist through the mutual conduct of the parties, and that the Crane Tragors breached that contract because they decided at the last minute to change their mind, and they would now like to stick that on my clients. Thank you.